to see what should we change here, or will they change anything at all? Thresh and Leona, the first two bans out once again from both of these teams. Shen also. These are all staying the exact same ban so far, so we're expecting Nasus to go from Gambit this time.
Or Twisted Fate. Those will be the two that have been followed up. It is going to be TF, so far 3 for 3.
But that tells me the fact that they've switched up, that means I think it's not going to be Nasus this time that's going to get banned.
If it's not, now this is something that Crepo said, and it's something that we've actually had the pleasure of listening to Evil Geniuses when they're talking as a team, discussing, well, when you ban things out, you either try to ban all the OPs, you know, so use the word, or you let them slide through and pretty much say, look, it's an open game, play what you want. So Fnatic are going to ban out Zach. This is the same as the previous matchup.
They could have first picked that. They could have first picked it. I think they're going to go Jarvan fourth again as their first pick.
So Zed, Kha'Zix, Ari, all still available there. Like you said, Jarvan the fourth as well. If Cyanide wants to run it again, Varus still available for selection. So a number of high priority champions. The question is now, in this third game of 5, the mindset. You start going, well, what do we play a comp that we've been practicing this week? Do we play something that we've relied on in the past? You know, this is now different because if you force somebody off their comfort zone, that could be enough to disrupt them.
So Jarvan has snuck through, Nasus has snuck through. Let's see which jungler they favor, because that's probably what we're going to see. Don't forget, Elise has also been one of the first choices that Gambit have taken away. sOAZ will be the man to make the selections. He's doing some bit of typing, bit of discussions between the team. They have that 40-second period to lock in that champion. First pick's always an interesting one for these guys.
It's very, very tough because there's so many things to select. If you go with something like Elise, you leave yourself open to interpretation. You know, where's it going to go? And they can deny that from their opponents who have run Elise, you know, in multiple games. You do have Zed still available here. You do have, you know, the likes of Varus and things like that. So it's difficult because whatever you pick is going to start signaling alarms for your opponents. Yeah. Well, if we see Zed, that might be sOAZ, which means Peke is going to try counter pick. You know, it's this whole chain of events that leads one into the other, and it looks like they are going to go with Zed.
Yeah, it worked out well for them in the last game, so why not lock it back up again, or just change it to Jarvan?
So, changing their mind, they locked in Jarvan the fourth first when they were playing the very first game as well. Gave away Elise, and it looks like Darien, he wants the Spider Lady again.
Instant lock, straight away. I don't think there was a discussion with his team, so I'm taking him.
So now we'll see, you know, if the Zed is locked in again, my question is how does Peke counter this? How do they decide? Are they going to go with the traditional counter?
You know what I'd love here right now? I'd love to see Diamond pull out Zed.
It's a possibility, definitely.
I want to see him challenging Insect.
Well,
he's going to be doing it in a few months or a few weeks, isn't it?
A few weeks, so it's about a month. But, give or take.
About a month.
What's the date? Yeah, about a month. We'll go with that one for now. If they decide to throw some shenanigans in there, it's going to throw Fnatic off. Because my question here is, if you're going to counter Zed, who Alex played in game 1 and actually helped them pick up the victory, if they had a Kayle or an Orianna or more shield, some form of safety, they may have been able to counter that pick. So this is the mind game that Fnatic are going to start playing. Because with Jarvan, they've signaled nothing. They haven't given away anything other than he's going to start fights for us.
And the fact is that they banned Nasus in the first 2 games and nobody's taken it.
So he's made it through these 2 rounds of picks as well, and I feel that with Gambit knowing that the jungler has been locked in,
they're probably saving it.
They saved it. They don't need to pick it right now because, you know, they're not competing for it, so to speak. It's a free pick. If Fnatic know that, they might take Nasus and put him in the top lane. It's a possibility. We've seen it done in North America. It's just a possibility. I'm not expecting it, but they could do it. I would probably see something like a Varus in this pickup. YellowStaR does like to run Varus, has had a couple of good games with him, so that wouldn't surprise me. And it's definitely a hotly contested pick as far as AD carries are concerned.
We're still waiting for Fnatic to make their 2 choices. Cyanide is looking to see who he's going to find. Maybe he's going to have one of those moments where, you know, you're in solo queue and you're saying, I can't find the champion. And locks in something different. I believe Wicked did that before with Rumble.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility when you sort of space out and you forget, you know, the length of time that you have and what you want to do. And we do see Varus being locked in. So YellowStaR making it very clear he's comfortable in a champion, he wants to play it, and giving Lulu once again over to nRated. A very good game in the previous matchup. Was never really called on to save his teammates because they were never really under that much pressure. But again, Fnatic still holding all the cards. They have revealed nothing about their solo laners.
Misfortune coming out here. I can call that one.
Yeah, that's not going to be surprising. Could be a Misfortune Sona. If we do see a Misfortune Sona or maybe a Misfortune Nasus, that might be a possibility. We'll see how this plays out at the moment, but that would make it Elise or Zed. There might be some funny business with this Elise or Zed. There might be some swapping around. They're a team, Gambit are a team that they can play so many different champions. And if not, if Rumble's locked in, that definitely means Elise is going. My guess is going to be the jungle. That would be my guess.
Could be support.
Could be support for EDward. I don't think EDward's been playing support Elise, so I imagine it's going to be in the jungle. That's where my money would go. And he called it misfortune, so no one really surprised. Genja, again, just falling back to his tried and trusted. It is his go-to carry.
So they know they're up against Alex Ich in the mid.
Yep.
What will we see Peke pulling out this time around?
He could go for the likes of Ari again. If Morgana is locked in, I'm not expecting that, because if it's going to be Morgana versus a Zed, that's going to be a very scary matchup. You can get killed very, very quickly. You're not going to block any of his damage with that black shield. If, however, they put the matchup in like a 1v2 setup, can use the Tormented Soil to farm very, very safely. And Morgana's a champion that has had some changes in this patch. It is 2.5 balance, it's live, whatever he's playing on. So reduce cooldowns on, reduce mana costs on a Q, and reduce mana cost on an ultimate as well.
There's one meta that's not come across from Korea just yet, and that's discussing picks and bans. They have a camera on the face. If you see them in OGN, they're like, I'm going to go for this champion over here. So I reckon it's going to be this one. Because they're looking at each other. Yeah, these guys are just like, nah, they don't care. They're Russian, they can't understand. There's some weird talking French now. Because it's YellowStaR discussing it.
Yeah,
and the rest of his team are like, do you know what you're on about, mate? Talk English.
So the team were considering locking in the likes of a Zinzao at that moment in time, so thinking of putting that in the top lane. Decide to swap that out, going with Kennen again. So we're going to have a rematch of game 1. I feel like it's going to be a Kennen in the mid versus a Zed, and I think that Darien's going to be it is going to be support Elise then.
It's going to be sOAZ.
It is going to be support Elise.
And it will be
if Volibear's locked in. Volibear and Nasus.
Yeah.
So Volibear and Nasus are available. Now remember, Volibear's Q is at a reduced speed at levels 1, 2, 3, etc. So it is a little slower. And if Diamond locks in Volibear over Nasus, I think he's prioritizing that early game power and the passive a little bit more than the Wither. Which I'm not too sure about, because Wither would be so great against Varus, against Kennen, against that rushing, dive-in composition.
He's going to change it. Edward's going to change it last minute. I feel it.
I feel in Nasus
Actually,
as well.
no, he's not typing the off.
Or they're going to play Eve, which they played in week 10. Now, Diamond Prox did play Evelynn in week 10. Who was it against? It was against Evil Geniuses, yes. And that was the Nunu in the mid/top, and it was all the shenanigans. I don't really know how much I like that composition, but I think it fits a little bit more here. When you combine Eve's ultimate with an equalizer, with the DPS that's going to come down from Elise, there is so much damage threat from the Gambit team.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see them switch around at the last minute, and Diamond and Alex.
I'm going to be very cross.
I believe we saw Night Jackie playing Eve last night.
I'd be lying. I
didn't get to watch it because it's pretty late at night. Yep, we need our beauty sleep, or not,
as much as
today
possible.
Seems to prove.
As much as you are gorgeously. The one thing about Fnatic's lineup right now is they do have a good mixture of initiation and of poke. If you combine the Jarvan and the Kennen along with a Lulu ultimate, you've got some good initiation, some knock-up, some CC. In addition, if they want to play passive, you've got the acceleration shock blast combos as well as the piercing arrows from Varus. I think poke is the one thing that Gambit are missing with this composition. They don't really have that long-range form to drop people's HP, and they need to have some sort of all-in in order to make team fights happen. But my word, do they have a powerful all-in.
It is a very powerful all-in, and I'm actually excited to see EDward on Elise, because if anyone's going to steal the kills, it would be him, or it would be scumbag Crepo.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's why they take it. Nif actually Nif's having a good go these days with Elise as well. He's been stealing a lot of kills. Seems to work out for these supports.
And it's such a good champion, in that regard. In the laning phase, is such a bully, has such great early game presence and power, but it is a champion that falls off once you start getting to those team fight presence, because it's a single target cocoon, it's single target neurotoxin, single target spell, a bite in spider form, and it just doesn't offer a 5v5 power. But if you're able to use that lane bully presence to get kills on your carry, then your carry can have the presence in team fights, and that's really what it's all about.
So we're just waiting for Darien to load, which it doesn't look like he is, because it looks like he's closing the client down. I'm seeing the task manager up there, so once his computer decides to let him play, as the admin gives him the thumbs up. It looks like it must be being sorted out. Look at Diamond, he's staring us down. Look at that. There was a cheeky peek from him around that camera there.
We see you.
He's scary. He's scary, isn't he?
Well, he
just the shivers up you. He's on Evelynn, so he's going to be running around
just about to say,
this time around.
He is scary because he's not playing a Mumu. Too soon?
Oh, wow.
Harsh words,
The
harsh words.
bird from Quick Shot there on Diamond Prox. Wow.
I do feel it's fair.
You got to feel that's going to come back to haunt you.
Maybe. There will be some people out there that feel I'm being overly harsh, but I think I stand by my decision. On Eve, though, he is going to be a terror. We're going to see Fnatic investing a lot of money into pink wards. That's not going to surprise me at all. Trying to at least survive those ganks. But once Diamond Prox does get that ultimate up and available, it is going to be a very scary combo. That's going to be the slow and the AoE CC that they're going to try to put the bullet time on top of.
And we'll see if that is exactly how it works. There is sOAZ, the man that's going to be playing with these guys in just about a month's time, of course. Joining 3 members of Gambit in that top lane. So that's a scary prospect in itself, I feel. You know, we've seen the Korean, the Chinese, the Southeast Asian teams and the North American teams, but I think the European team looks pretty scary on paper.
European team looks terrifying on paper, especially when you consider just the individual power that one another have, you know, in terms of their lane matchup. So as long as they don't, you know, let the psychological effect come into play, it's definitely going to play in their favor. Right now, 5 members of Fnatic moving towards the river.
Yes, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. If you've just tuned in, well, or tell your friends, tell your mother, your brother, and what did I call it before? It was the your estranged ex-wife. That was it. But get them all watching this game because it's Fnatic versus Gambit. It's the grand finals. It's a $100,000 tournament. 50,000 to the winner, 25,000 to second. Of course, third and fourth places already happened. Evil Geniuses took that one 2-0 over SK Gaming, disproving that the third place seeding that SK Gaming have got throughout this season doesn't exactly give you the choice of positioning in a tournament. As it is, Fnatic, they are #1. Question is, can they prove it in a best-of-5 series against Gambit? And already there's a pink ward down on the blue there from Fnatic, and that Spider is going to spot them out. Will they have seen that one? The wards, yeah, the pings straight away. Gambit saw that.
Yeah, so Gambit will know that Fnatic moved into their jungle and now moved out. So they'll be well aware that there are some wards down. That pink ward is not only great because it'll, you know, allow them to see other wards, it's going to let them see Evelynn, and that's the real reason it's there. Going to let her, you know, give them vision on when she moves over to that blue buff. Remember that this best-of-5, it's something that these teams, let's be honest, are not too accustomed to. You know, we tend to have best-of-3s for the most part, and most of these teams, at least the European teams, it's going to be a very, very extended series. So we'll see how well this third matchup goes, because whoever wins is going to be 1 victory away from claiming the title of LCS Spring Champion. Cyanide wants this blue buff, but he has been spotted by the ward, and he's not going to get it at all. Not even in range for Smite. So well played, just pulled it out of range, pulled it out of touching distance.
Just close enough, and he does take it away. So that's actually how Diamond got shut down against Evil Geniuses before. So I was taking a lot of damage from EDward in that top lane. Would we expect anything else once he's playing Elise? As it stands, the red buff, of course, he's going to go across the Cyanide. nRated will help him out on that one. Of course, the mid lane, that's where we need to focus as well. Alex Ich versus xPeke. They went at each other very early on, and constantly after that, it was Alex Ich that won out eventually and became that split pusher. Will he be able to prevent Fnatic's tactic of having xPeke as that split push master?
Well, he's going to have to try. It's something that now, you know, Alex will be a little bit more aware of how xPeke played Kennen in game #1, and he's obviously going to, you know, maybe adjust his style of play for this matchup. What we do see, though, is an early pink ward down in and around the blue buff, and Cyanide, he has some vision, so he knows there's members of Gambit there, and he's got the Demacian standing for vision, and this is a 2-man Gambit trying to steal away this blue buff. Nobody from Fnatic have responded just yet. Cyanide is doing the best he can to distract them. And as again, it's 2 versus 1, so we'll see how effective he can get in there at the moment.
His Smite is now back available, and Diamond does take it down, so very well played from Gambit this time around, securing both blue buffs. Just how much will that hurt Cyanide? I guess we're going to find out shortly, but a very good counter to effectively what was trying to be the same tactic Fnatic we're going to use against them.
Yeah, it's just being a great bully. Having that champion like Elise who can land the cocoon, who can get all that percentage HP damage, it was able to single-handedly force them away. So a very good start to the game for Gambit. Their jungler is already a level ahead, and they've stolen a buff. And if you look at the duo laners, at the moment, they're losing a little bit of CS because of that. So we'll have to see if that does, you know, come back to bite them in the butt.
Overheating from Darien, but he does clear out that wave. That turret is taking a lot of damage, though, so he's not going to be able to hold on too much longer. He's already down to half health just 4 minutes into this game. Of course, all that action with the jungle invades does mean they're not going to have the usual 3-man stack on the turrets. Genja, meanwhile, in this top, trying to keep sOAZ away from the experience. Edward's doing what he can to try and keep him phased away from this one. Does turn around and put that shockwave acceleration gate combo back in towards him. And there's explosive spiders gets launched out and Cyanide gets spotted.
Yeah, it's going to give the vision on Cyanide, so he's not going to be able to slide right in there and knock anybody up. At the moment, there is still a pink ward in nRated's back pocket, so he's going to have the ability to, put that down relatively soon. If this Eve comes in for the fight, they've jumped on yellow.
They're going in, they land the harpoon. Diamond immediately flashes straight through, as does Darien. This could be first blood. Barrier's used, and it's going to be going down, and now nRated's in all sorts of trouble. Are they going to have the damage to finish this one off? No, but it doesn't matter. The kill came in.
Such a great move there from Diamond, running straight through it, just getting within touching distance there of YellowStaR's Varus and having so much damage to close them out. So very well played. First blood, it does go to Rumble as well, who is in that 2v1 situation, so he's the one that needed that extra gold. Right now, Cyanide has been spotted by Diamond Procs, and you can see them roaming around. Diamond still has those double buffs up. Look for the fight right now. If he gets within range of Cyanide, his stealth will be revealed. He will be spotted, but he's managed to sneak around the side, and he's coming up behind the Spaniard.
This is what I prefer to see from Diamond. Rather than his passive play that he had on his move, he's very aggressive. Evelynn seems to be working against them. Wraiths have been taken by Cyanide already. I actually think they may have been taken by Peke. Peke's gone a little deep in the lane, and they're all going to dive straight towards him. He's going to try and lightning surge away. Did manage to land the stunner towards Alex Ich.
Wow.
Flash burn, and Ignite went down, but he managed to survive.
So managed to make xPeke think, but the fight's not over.
It's not over in the top lane because Edward's going to go in towards sOAZ. He managed to make it rain. Has Genja got enough to damage him down, or is he going to be able to turn it back around? Has to use that exhaust. The repel comes out. Edward gets lunged on towards him. Flash Ignite. Is it going to be enough to take down sOAZ? Will the hit points go? No, he's just about survived. He's got to be on a whisker.
A whisker, that's a new one. I had to think about that for a second. He does get away with that whisker of life, as is said, but it was a very good play between both Genja and Edward. The moment that Jayce dove onto Genja, he immediately exhausted him, so reduced that initial burst, that initial impact that he had. Then, of course, Edward used the repel to throw himself back over onto Jayce. So, very good combo there. What we do see from Darien's Rumble, with that first blood, he's picked himself up a Ruby Crystal and a Cloth Armor, so he'll survive all of that additional poke that Varus is putting down and survive any damage thanks to that additional HP.
Yeah, Peke has evolved and adapted to this build, and he knows how to deal with Alex Ich. Alex Ich using that red fortitude pot to try and take down Peke. Peke's with the Seeker's Arm Guards already, though, after backing away. Does mean he's going to be a little bit stronger, and still no deaths going in this first lane.
If anything, to be honest with you, Peke is winning this particular lane better than he did in the previous matchup. In game number 1, we've seen the two of them going back and forth, but with Alex's gameplay right now, he's low on HP, he hasn't been able to poke xPeke out, and he's playing a lot more defensive than we've seen. So we'll see whether or not this works out for him.
sOAZ returns to that top lane. He has got the Tear of the Goddess as well. So he's going to be holding on to that lane. He's holding on to it a lot better than Darien is in this bottom lane because the poke keeps on coming towards him. And look at that. Again, the hail of arrows goes down. They thought about going for it, but Diamond Procs is there once again.
So he's stealthed up. He's not going to get spotted. He's going to be running it. But look at this pink ward placement here for Cyanide. So if he walks past it, it's obviously going to give away the vision. And this will become a 3 versus 2. And may decide to go in. Once this tower, he takes a few more hits, and there's the fight.
He's going in. Equalizer goes down on towards YellowStaR. Cyanide comes back around. Can they turn it around? Slides in. There's going to be the Chain of Corruption landing across, but Diamond gets taken down. Very good turnaround from Fnatic, and that was simply a case of the jungler being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect bait from the three of them, managing to take the damage. They even stood in that equalizer for a little bit and forced Eve to carry on running in. Crucially, the blue buff goes over to YellowStaR, which means those piercing arrows are there, but the fight's in mid.
Alex Ich going diving in. The exhaust has been used, though, so that should be enough to turn it around. He gets the stun down on Alex Ich. Then again, it's very even trade between them this time around. We saw them both dropping. That is going to be the bottom turret going down, so advantage Fnatic.
So I take it back. In the mid lane, Alex is doing exactly the same as he did in game number 1. Was just waiting to get that first buy of the Bilgewater Cutlass and is now showing that in a straight-up 1v1, he's still going to win. He got all that damage down and he got it through an exhaust as well. So you see Peke trying to be a little cheeky with the poke. And if he gets a good stun, he may go in a little deeper.
Alex returns a bit of poke of his own. We do see Diamond headed straight towards our blue buff, though. So can they try and take that away from Fnatic once again? Remember, they secured both their own and the Fnatic blue buff in the very start of this game. Has that timer down, and it looks like Diamond's going to get this without anyone getting remotely close to him. Smites it and runs. So
both blue buffs that have spawned for Fnatic have been stolen away by Diamond procs, and we'll definitely have to keep tabs on that as to, you know, how effective they can continue to control those particular buffs. It's not the end of the world, because Kennen being energy-based and Jayce having that tier of the goddess, it would have benefited him, allowed him to spam a little more. But as I say, at this exact moment in time, you feel that it's not as game-breaking as if it was against, you know, an Anivia, a Lax, or something like that.
We'll see, and Cyanide comes back up and says, son of a... take it in again! Just gonna have to walk away. Puts a pink ward down, and there wasn't even a ward there either, so that was effectively wasted, but he does manage to expose Diamond procs if he were to pass by and go to those wolves, which is something he used to do so often. We don't see a great deal of counter jungling from him these days, though, because everybody does it.
Yeah, and the risk is so much greater now with the you know, the overall team play and coordination rising to such a great level right now. It's so much more difficult to do it successfully because you can call your teammates back and forth. Take a look in the river right now. You can see xPeke moving towards this top lane. There is no ward here for I lie, he was walking over it, so that's why I didn't see it. They spotted him out, and you do see Diamond procs moving up there, as well as the fact that Cyanide stood on a ward. They're going to be aware, but they may dive this one.
They're diving on towards EDward. They have managed to catch him out, but look at this. Alex Ich is going to come up the river as well. Bullet time catches down sOAZ. They're going to continue to chase on this one. Alex Ich is going to come out of the river right now, straight on towards xPeke. xPeke has to use that ultimate, but he's going to get popped by the ultimate of Alex Ich, and that was a very good turnaround once again from Gambit.
Straight up outplayed. Gambit managed to pick up 2 kills there, and Fnatic simply didn't commit to the tower dive properly. 2 members of Fnatic are pushing down this mid turret, though. As Darien joins the party, he's been rooted.
Chain of Corruption lands, and Darien is forced to flash away from that one. And meanwhile, in that top lane, you can see Gambit continuing to push through. They're just going to farm out of the ways and take down that turret, and Genja replying along with Darien to defend off this mid lane. So Gambit turning those advantages in their favor. They have that 1,000 gold lead now, 3-1 in kills, equal in turret.
And of course, the reason that those kills went their favor in the top lane is because sOAZ stayed under the turret. xPeke went down towards Eve, and they were split up. They didn't stick together. They didn't stack their damage on top of one another. If xPeke had gone under the turret and used his ultimate, they may have been able to pick up a kill and then try to back away instead of losing 2 for nothing. But nevertheless, it was a great counter gank from Gambit, and it's what Crepper was saying in the previous match, or in the analysis of Game 1. It was just counter gank after counter gank. A team fight would break out, and the team would have numbers close by, and they'd simply throw themselves at the fight.
They get there quicker. Diamond looking like they want to go for Dragon potentially here. They do put their own pink ward. They're going to see the vision that Fnatic have and remove that straight away. We do see Fnatic maybe trying to react to this one. There's 3 members coming around. Demacia Standard is going to give them that little bit of vision of the Dragon. I'm not too sure whether they're going to be able to get around to maybe take it. Cyanide looks like he wants a piece of this one. Has got flash available if he could try and sneak in and flash straight out.
So they're thinking about joining the party right now. A little glitter lance is not going to do anything. And in terms of the itemization, Spirit of the Elder Lizard as the first item there for Jungle Eve. So going for that attack damage, cooldown reduction, and regeneration. So not something that I was expecting, but it will synergize very well with Evelynn. Champion that can build sort of either ability power or attack damage. They both synergize very well.
So it does look like Alex Ich again is going to be that split push person, while the rest of Gambit do shove down this mid lane. Cocoon not quite landing on towards xPeke there, and he's going to get that free farm. This is what they did in Game 1. This is what worked in Game 1. How are Fnatic going to respond to this one? You can see xPeke's had a better time of it in the exchanges between them, but still, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to stop Alex Ich continuing to push.
So one of the problems from Game 1 in dealing with that split push is Fnatic couldn't find a way to force a team fight or force an objective. So once they started falling behind from the push, they got caught up. xPeke is way deep.
xPeke's got very deep. The exhaust comes out. They may be able to turn this one back around. You can see the wild growth on towards xPeke. Is it going to be enough to knock them away? No. EDward successfully defends off his AD carry, and now the equalizer comes out. Darien's going to come in towards this one. Diamond procs is close by as well. They land the harpoons on towards nRated, but they can't dive the turret.
Just not enough damage to take out Genja there, and it was a very good defensive play to get away. That was a 3 versus 2 that they managed to survive from. Now Gambit, with the numbers advantage and the HP advantage, are pressuring down this middle lane. YellowStaR has joined the party to defend, and luckily with the help of that Glitter Lance, will take up that wave very quickly.
Just enough to keep that turret alive. Genja straight away reacting and running to the side lanes to pick up the farm that had been pushed in there. sOAZ, he's doing a good enough job to try and keep Alex Ich away from these turrets, but Alex is lying in wait, sat in the shadows to try and get onto sOAZ.
Ignite is almost available, and when that cooldown becomes, usable, I expect him to jump over and go for the kill. He's got a 3-level advantage. He's got a Bilgewater Cutlass built up and his full combo of damaging abilities. All it's going to take is this full metal Jayce to step one step too far.
One might say one step closer to the edge.
And Alex will try to find a way to make him break.
Well, he certainly will. They know that he's there, though. And they realize this is the first blue buff they're going to pick up as well. Remember, Diamond Prox has taken the last 2 away. This time, of course, it will go across to YellowStaR.
So they do manage to pick it up, and it's interesting to see who they give the blue buff to. Could have gone to Jayce, could have gone to Kennen, but deciding that Varus is the preferred target, I think it may be a little bit more beneficial on a champion like Jayce, who can spam out those shock blasts a little more. But nevertheless, throwing out piercing arrows, getting those chains of corruptions, it's always going to work in your favor.
Bullet time used by Genja to keep that wave pushed, and xPeke is saying thank you very much. I'll clear that out towards my turret then. Diamond Prox, he's making a return trip, and blue buff has already gone, unfortunately, so it's going to be to naught. But sOAZ may well get caught out of position here, shows himself up lane. Diamond immediately tried to react, and as soon as he saw him in that ward, he quickly backed away. Yeah,
he's going to be moving away. Diamond Prox crawling in the dark at the moment, just using that stealth to the best of his ability. But as we said in the pregame, Fnatic spending a lot of money on those pink wards, trying to make sure that they can see him roaming as best as possible. And we're going to need to see some very early Oracle's Elixirs coming out of the Fnatic members, because you cannot allow Alex to get in range and throw that ultimate down.
No, and of course the wards, though, from EDward, keeping vision on that dragon. Not up just yet. Maybe a little bit of a while away. Cyanide's going to pick up the red buff. That's going to go across towards YellowStaR. We do see sOAZ backing off and getting out Mana Mune, so must be stacked close to the Muramana. They don't generally go for it unless it's pretty much ready to go, but that's got to have a long way away, surely yet.
So at the moment he's halfway full. There is some benefit in obviously filling it up first. You do get that attack damage spike even though it's not fully stacked, and you'll stack it quicker once it is fully completed. So I think that's the primary reason for it. What we do see sOAZ doing this game, and he did it last game as Zed, is he stacks all those long swords before upgrading them. We've seen 4 of them in the previous game, we've seen three of them now, and it's just something that's it's interesting to note how they decide to itemize their champions. But it is a much slower game than we've seen from match 1, where we had fairly similar champion picks.
I'd like to get his views on that, because it's something I've seen in the OGN as well. I'm sure the LPL are probably doing similar. We've seen a number of champions stacking those longswords, and we saw it, like you mentioned, he had those 4 swords earlier on. Tried to do a, was it Goro, you said?
Yes,
I believe it was, from Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
It's the only dude I can think of with 4 arms, so I was trying to search my brain for other characters, but yeah, that's where we went to. At the moment, Alex, he's still camping out this top lane. He wants to jump onto sOAZ. He has the damage to kill him, and the moment sOAZ is playing very defensive. CS numbers relatively low for these top laners, but Darien is the one that's suffering a little bit more. In the meantime, 3 members of Gambit, they're pushing down the mid turret, and to be honest, there's not much happening. Basically,
to sum it up, it's a pretty boring game so far. Just 17 minutes into the grand finals. 1-1, all square.
Well, 50 grand to 25 grand. I imagine they're allowed to take it at a slower pace. They're allowed to get those Zimmer frames out and just play it. But there's the fight.
There's the Zimmer frames, and sOAZ, well, he needed a little bit more. And Diamond now is going to chase in. xPeke actually catching on towards Alex Ich, but Diamond Prox turns this one back around, and xPeke having to use his ultimate in defensive formation. We do see nRated also coming up. The exhaust was used on towards Diamond Prox. Cyanide is going to slide across. Is he going to use that Cataclysm? Will he come through? Yes, he does, but he's not going to jump on towards him, because in the backside, in comes EDward, and xPeke's go for kill is just straight on towards him. Now he's going to catch on towards nRated. nRated's going to get dropped down. Genja tried to come in and pick that kill up, tried to secure it, I think it's safe to say, but Darien had already got it with the Flame Splitter, and that is a 3-0 to Gambit. Just like that, a still stagnant game turns into a Baron.
Simply poor positioning from Fnatic. They got caught out. They didn't really optimize their abilities in the right way. And Gambit just picking out single targets and focusing them down. YellowStaR is going to try and challenge this. And we see down on the bottom, Cyanide's there as well. Cataclysm is up, as is Smite. They may try and go for a Baron steal. We've seen it win a game earlier today. Will it happen again?
The Cocoon went out. He didn't quite catch it on towards him. And look, you can see how much damage is coming out here. Fnatic turning this one back on its head. And you can see YellowStaR will manage to catch the second shot in there. You can see, he's going to slide in. He gets the double. Alex Ich does manage to turn straight around and take him down, but I think he's going to pay for it with his life. They're going to dive too deeply, too greedy. Here it is. And Genja turns it around. He's going to be able to pick himself up a double kill. But Peke comes in just in the right moment to defend him. They should take down the middle turret. And a mistake from Gambit shows again, just like they did against KT Rolls the B in MLG. That is the exact same problem. They got greedy, they went for Baron, and now Alex Ich is going to get caught out. Peke's there. He realizes his mistake. He's going to try and run from this one, but the hail of Varus comes out. He turns it back on towards YellowStaR. There's not going to be no barriers there. And along with nRated shield, he does survive.
Yeah, without nRated shield, he definitely would have gone down. Gambit pulling an SK, trying to rush a Baron when it was way too early. 19 minutes on the clock. They didn't have the necessary levels. They didn't have the necessary defensive stats. They lost 3 members, mid-turret, and maybe Dragon. No, Fnatic are back away for Drake. They don't want to do the same and throw away more resources than they need to.
It is possible to make Gambit pick up mistakes, and Fnatic very quick to react to that one. It does mean, though, that the Dragon is going to potentially get started off here, but look at this Gambit. They know they can pick up some potential kills here, but they're going to walk straight into the net. The ward went down. They didn't have vision of Diamond, though, and immediately they run away. They can see him on the pink ward, but unfortunately for them, they don't have a position to try and lock him down.
So we'll see. This is definitely going to be the next point of contention for these two teams. Dragon up and only 1,000 gold separating them. Both of these teams want to pick up the Dragon. Shock Blasts doing a fair amount of damage, but if you look at EDward, he's got a decent amount of HP, and you would expect it to be hitting a little bit harder before Jayce is really going to have an impact. But xPeke, he's toying with his life right now. He doesn't even realize it as Diamond was sniffing around the invisible cloak, and he was just waiting to see, should we go, should we go? And eventually the call was no.
Should I stay or should I go?
I don't know the beat. Yeah, sorry.
Why do you hum it if you don't know the beat?
I don't know. I thought it was going to come to me. I'm
just going to make noises and see what happens. That's what I generally go with.
Fnatic group up on the Dragon, and they pick the fight with Darien.
They slide straight in, but the Cocoon comes straight out from EDward. Darien still is going to have to try and get away from this one. YellowStaR should have enough damage. The Hail of Arrows goes down. One more snipe. Chain of Corruption used. That goes across, but is effectively whiffed because he'd already died. I don't know why he needed to use that one out. Kind of a waste of an ulti, but instead we do see Cyanide diving in. Gets on towards Diamond Procs. Diamond Procs gets popped out. Bullet time coming out, but he gets stunned straight up by Peke and exhausted. And well, Fnatic turning this one round in fantastic style right now. YellowStar's going to continue chasing. Alex Ich wants a piece of him. He messed up his living shadow and stands there looking like John Travolta.
Cannot manage to get through there. What it does mean, Fnatic, with the kills, the position, and the vision, they are going to pick up this Dragon. A very, very good fight. The reason that Chain of Corruption was thrown out, it was the last tick of damage. He needed 1 or 2 more auto attacks to close it out. He actually almost rooted EDward with it as well. Genja, however, with great positional play and map awareness, he picks up a tower as well. So, yes, they lost the fight. Yes, they lost the Dragon, but they're only 200 gold behind, and Alex has found Yellow.
Alex is finally diving in, and that is going to be a very dead YellowStaR. There's not a lot he can do with that one. And immediately, that 500 gold that he just stacked up picking up those kills goes straight across back to Alex Ich.
So he's immediately got this ability to take out, the main damage dealer. What we did see in that previous fight, which is very, very important for Fnatic and will continue to be important, Peke and Kennen, with his ultimate, are going to be reliable for taking out that bullet time. He's going to need to get that stun down and stop that bullet time mid-channel. You could rely on, the wild growth of Jarvan to do it, but in those big team fights, look for Kennen to dash in there, throw on that Zhonya's Hourglass, and stun him up with that ultimate.
How quick did this game turn around? 17 minutes on, you were just commenting, it was a little bit of a slow-paced game at 1-3. There's no denying it, but now 9-7, just 4 minutes later, or 5 minutes later now we're actually at, because I've been dawdling on the point long enough. they do have a lot of action happening all across the map. Bottom wave being pushed, middle wave being pushed, and top wave all being pushed by Gambit.
The thing that I like about the turnaround is it's not the small skirmishes that have happened. It's been big team fights. It's been big engagements. Peke, he's thinking about a fight here. The way he's playing and he's stepping, he actually wants to pick this fight. He does have a Zhonya's Hourglass to stay alive, but he's very low on energy.
Well, Darien does manage to overheat himself, but it is Darien that's winning out the fight there. That shield was working wonders for him against those shurikens, and it was making them bounce off. Diamondprox now sneaking around. He's going to get spotted by the ward straight away as soon as he steps in. It equalized. It did come out, but Chain of Corruption comes out, and YellowStaR has a hell of a lot of burst damage on towards Diamondprox. Comes straight around. They did cost just lost vision of him, but it didn't matter. Peke threw down that ultimate. Alex Ich, meanwhile, he's making a run away from sOAZ. sOAZ trying to keep driving him down, but he's spotted by the wards. He is just going to back away, though.
And Peke actually flashed over that wall to use the ultimate and secure the kill. So that's his first kill of the game. Really feeling the pinch and feeling the pressure, I feel. But what good play from YellowStaR. He went very, very aggressive onto Diamondprox. He didn't hesitate a moment in throwing every single ability he had down because he knew he could pick up that kill. So very well played. And as long as Fnatic keep making those picks, they're going to claw themselves back into this. They're only 200 or 300 gold behind right now.
So let's have a look across the board. We do see the Runic Bulwark now completed by Cyanide. Very different junglers in this game. A full tank Cyanide against a almost assassin-like Diamondprox. Just got the Iron Locket this time around to try and cover off, and didn't make much use of it in that last fight because simply he had no chance, because there's a lot of damage from those AD carries now. They are a dangerous, dangerous thing, and the game is coming towards the AD carry dominance period. YellowStaR, of course, with that Bladed Rune King and the Bloodthirster, got that chain armor in as well. Maybe see a Guardian Angel coming out from him. Meanwhile, Genja, he's got the Bloodthirster and that BF sword, though, so he is quite a bit behind so far into YellowStaR.
Yeah, so he's feeling the pinch, and also he's seen this matchup before, so he knows that Alex is going to be targeting him. I mean, he's already been blown up, once in the last few minutes. So once he gets that Guardian Angel up, it's a deterrent more than anything else. If Alex throws everything he has onto Varus and YellowStaR, it just means the rest of the team can focus him down. So I really like the pickup of a Guardian Angel, but he's still a good chunk of gold away before he can, pick that one up. We do see sOAZ has completed his Black Cleaver, so that'll be shredding armor, as Fnatic are about to bump heads with a few members of Gambit. Gambit playing very brave around this blue buff the entire game. They've had very deep wards. They've tried to steal a number of the buffs and been successful on a good number of times as well.
Alex Ich sat ready and waited to see if sOAZ is going to step out, but it doesn't seem like he's going to head that way. Got a lot of damage ready and waiting to use it, but again, Fnatic closing in around him, and they're not falling for this trap.
No, not right now. Darien does have Equalizer up, so we'll see how this pans out. There's a pink ward down, so if Eve does eventually get you, they'll spot her out for the corner, Edward.
The Chain of Corruption comes out. Edward does repel, and he goes straight to the blue buff, but he turns it back around. There's going to be the Equalizer going down. Alex Ich took sOAZ down just off the camera as well. In the meantime, absolutely destroyed him, but he's going to get focused. He gets stunned. There's going to be the Hail of Arrows. Flashes away, though, and Peke now, he turns his ultimate. He's trying to catch on towards Diamondprox, but they're going to have to run away from this one, and Gambit again managed to pick up another kill and steal away the blue buff.
Very well played. That stems from the fact that sOAZ got dropped so quickly, and the rest of Gambit ran interference. One thing that I noticed there from Diamondprox, he's got the Locket of the Iron Solari, and when you add in his Agony's Embrace, he gets 225 health point shield for each champion that he hits. So the amount of shields that he has with that Locket, with his ultimate, is too damn high in his team fights, and it's going to take a lot of damage to burst through that.
Diamond's taking away the Wraiths from Cyanide as well. He's going to spot that out. So everything that they threw, basically they burned a lot of abilities to get towards Edward, and they just simply couldn't land them. We do have a pause coming out. Diamondprox actually making the call, it seems, although maybe he just said, it's not us. What are you looking at me for? It's not me.
We'll as soon as we find out the calls, we'll let you know, but this is a very, very tense game. At any moment, either of these teams can pick up team fights. Yeah. Either of these teams can pick up objectives, and it just comes down to positioning. And I feel vision is the primary factor in this game. When Fnatic have spotted out Alex or members of Gambit, Diamond or members of Gambit, they've been able to pick fights. But the times that they haven't, Gambit have been able to pick up kills.
Well, we see. Waiting for the game to resume, and there it is, right on your screens. It is about to get back underway. So, Fnatic, currently, they are 10-8 down in kills. It is advantage for Gambit in terms of gold as well. 1,000 gold, 2-2 in terms of turrets. So, very close game right now still, just 27 minutes gone, and only 1,000 gold splitting them. That doesn't really equate to a great deal, but the main thing is, those kills, they're stacked up. Alex Ich, once again, 5-1-1. Blade of the Ringling, Black Cleaver, got himself a bit of health on there. Peke is going to try and chase down Genja here, but it's not going to happen. But we do see Fnatic pushing in this mid lane.
So they've managed to use that acceleration gate to get up there closer. Diamondprox is waiting in the wings. He's found out Cyanide, and they're going toe-to-toe, but Alex is still pushing bottom.
Diamondprox does try and get slide away from this one. They're going to use the Cataclysm, but the bullet time comes out from Genja. Alex Ich is still taking that turret down that bottom wave, and Fnatic have been forced away from this one very well by Gambit. They had to burn a lot of ultimates, as did Fnatic, to try and get those kills, but it didn't happen, and Alex Ich is taking that bottom in a turret.
Alex showing that he can split push with the best of them, if not better, because he has had so much presence in Game 1 of this series. Now in Game 3, he's doing the exact same thing with the exact same champion. And the rest of the team is just pulling them away, delaying those fights and keeping Fnatic busy, allowing him to play the map. Alex, he sniffs blood right now. He's waiting to see if anybody steps out of the base, because he can take out anybody on the opposing team.
I think he realizes there's no wards around that jungle area. The red buff has just respawned as well. The dragon's being picked up by Gambit. That's going to stretch their gold lead to 2,000, to 3,000, sorry, because they've already got 2,000. They did take that down turret, of course. Alex Ich, he's ready and waiting to see this red buff get started off. Oh, he steps out just that split second too early. He wasn't to know, of course, but nRated spots him and straight away backs off. Yeah,
it's just one of those situations where a moment could make all the difference, but look at the numbers of Gambit members here. They've snuck 4 of them into this bush, and 3 members of Fnatic are sticking around. There is no Cataclysm available, and Eve actually stole that red buff.
He did indeed.
No, he didn't. It may have been Zed, actually. Who has the red?
Diamond had the red. He's a diamond in the rough, and he has a red buff.
Yeah, manages to steal that one away. So the rest of Fnatic have grouped up as 4 members now in this middle lane. You can see they've left Peke to defend off or fend off against Zed. Guardian Angel has been completed for Genja, and that's very, very important. They're going to have to pick a fight here if they want to save this tower.
They are going to pick a fight. Peke, of course, he's just fending off Alex Ich. That's all he can do right now, because Alex has just got stronger and stronger as the game has progressed. And you can see Peke is diving in towards him. He's going to go on towards the turret, though. He's got the exhaust, and actually, Alex, I think, just jumped the wrong way there. I don't think he really wanted to go for that, and that may give Peke the advantage here. He can land Warmo's Shuriken. He will be able to get the stun down. You can see he's going to chase through this one. Lightning Surge is there. It's just enough to slow him down. Dodges away from that shock blast. No, one more Living Shadow would have been enough, but Peke picks up the kill, and that was actually Alex Ich making the mistake.
Yeah, he went a little bit too aggressive, forgot maybe a little bit about that Zhonya's Hourglass. So well played by Peke, but Peke had to burn Flash, Exhaust, his ultimate, and need a little bit of assistance there, you know, maybe to help close it out. Great play by Alex to sidestep the shock blast, and he actually avoided giving away an assist. So, you know, well played even when, you know, giving up a death.
I love the little back and forth between these supports. You see the cocoon land, the spider comes out, and he just shields it off and said, yeah, I can deal with this. Looks like they're going to dive on towards Darien, though. They're going to use that acceleration gate again to try and catch the speed down. Equalizer comes out from Darien, and that will force them away.
Definitely a success there for Fnatic. If they decide to go, you know, play a little bit more aggressive in the next minute 10 seconds, that equalizer is not going to be available for them. Gambit right now secure their own blue buff, give that over to Eve once more. And actually, if you think about it, Heat's champion in the solo top, Energy champion in solo mid, Eve is going to have a permanent blue buff this entire matchup, and obviously that's going to make Diamondprox very happy.
Especially when he keeps stealing them away from Fnatic's jungle. Yeah. Someone's certainly going to keep him that permanent buff on. YellowStaR going very deep in the lane here, has got ward coverage to spot anyone coming towards him, but it does give a clear positioning to Gambit, and they're not going to try and take any advantage of it so far. Looks like that's going to get cleared out. sOAZ, he's got a lot of damage right now, definitely building up. It's going to be a last whisper coming out shortly for him, and he's definitely going to cause problems for them as the game progresses.
Gambit have not let his poke become a problem, though. Because of the way they're playing the map, it simply hasn't become relevant. Fnatic are well aware of Alex's positions. They've pinged him, and they're going in for this one.
Shock Blast goes in, he's going to slide out. It's going to be out of Living Shadow.
Fail
away.
Flash.
No! Fail Flash. Chain of Corruption landed as well from YellowStaR, and that is 3 times now that Fnatic have known he's been in the exact bush.
So the vision is playing into their favor. That's the reason it's working out for them so well. But YellowStaR being a little bit overconfident now gets caught out. Forced to burn his flash there. Still has barrier available. There is no ultimate to lock people down. And the rest of Fnatic are trying to surround them.
Flashed away from the equalizer that came out Meanwhile, it's going to be Peke chasing down EDward. He can repel away. He's going to try and maybe repel towards the... I tell a lie, they're going to turn in towards Genja. But now Darien and Diamondprox have joined back in there. Bullet time comes across, but that's going to be a little bit whiffed. Diamondprox with that shield passive coming out there that he manages to catch all 4 members. Peke has to use the Zhonya's hourglass. nRated comes in. He's going to be the target focus. EDward manages to sink his fangs in there. And now it's going to be Genja. He picks up the kill on Cyanide. sOAZ goes down. EDward picks up a double kill. And now sOAZ, well, he managed to take down Diamondprox, but it's going to be a 3-4-1.
Again, great focus from Gambit. They picked the target, they killed the target. A cocoon from EDward completely destroyed that slicing maelstrom from Peke. It did nothing. To be very fair, Genja had missed-aimed that bullet time a little bit. He was anticipating the fight to stay around that, bush area by the red buff, but it swung over to the left. It didn't matter, though, because Diamond had so many hit points to burn through as far as the shields are concerned, that Gambit just tore through the squishies of Fnatic, and that was a 3-for-1 exchange at the end of the day.
Another great exchange, and it's Gambit that come out on top. Still, it's 4,000 gold between these teams, and both AD carries now picking up that Guardian Angel. It seems to be coming back into fashion as the games progress. Alex Ich, he's heading down towards that bottom lane. YellowStaR is immediately backing away, doesn't want a piece of that, and Alex will continue to shove the wave. Genja has joined him as well in this lower push area. There's actually no wards from either team around there at the moment, and actually we do look at Fnatic. They're going to make their moves towards the Baron, trying to get the wards out there. Gambit hadn't even thought about that. Since the one mistake they made around Baron, they're just thinking, no, we don't want a piece of that. We want to just shove the lanes.
It's not worth the risk, especially when you've got all the amount of poke that can come down from Jayce, and if you combo, a Lightning Rush, Maelstrom Ultimate plus Zhonya's, you're going to be stuck in this little pit with all of that splash damage, all of that AoE. It's simply not worth it. The pink wards go down and EDward immediately clears them out. So Fnatic, the alarm bells are ringing. They're going, are they doing it or are they not doing it? We still don't see an Oracles though. When that ward goes down, this may be another fight for Fnatic, but they got to be very careful. They don't have Peke with them.
Cyanide chased the engage on Darien and EDward, but doesn't go for it like you mentioned. Didn't have the full team with him. Peke's trying to take away that red buff, and Genja, he's still keeping busy in that mid lane to keep those waves shoved, keep them pushing back and keeping that CS going. He is chasing CS on YellowStaR, of course. He's been doing a better job at clearing those waves out. He's 5-2-4 versus 3-0-4 though, so not too shabby for either AD carries.
No, not too shabby at all. Nige, we do see a double Bloodthirster, which is great. All the sustain, we do see a lot of big items across the board, but to be honest, they're not having a massive impact in terms of completely controlling fights. We see Fnatic making mistakes, Gambit capitalize. We see Gambit making mistakes, then vice versa. And it's just this case of whoever can spot out their enemies best is making the plays. One of the big differences right now is the fact that Diamond's got a massive CS advantage over his opposite number. 60 creeps at the 35-minute mark, and it's showing in his items, but here's the fight.
Chain of Corruption lands on towards Diamondprox. He tries to flash away, but instantly gets locked back up by Peke's ultimate, and they do manage to take it down. So that means the smite is not available, and they are in a 4v5. Will they try to force the Baron fight now?
It's late enough in the game, the levels are high enough, and there's enough damage and survivability, so I feel like Fnatic can force this one. The thing that doesn't play into their favor, they do not have Chain of Corruption. They do not have Slicing Maelstrom. So if a big team fight breaks out, they may not have enough damage to finish it through. Gambit are going to challenge for this one. There's a couple of wards in their back pocket, so they're going to put these ones down. Equalizer's available, and let's see how Gambit do this.
Equalizer gets thrown across 4 members of Fnatic, and it did do a heck of a lot of damage, but it's not enough to force them away completely yet. They are going to back away from it, though. That's taken them low enough that they don't want to risk it.
So Baron is regenerating incredibly quickly. It's back up to full health now as Gambit were trying to position. If they'd managed to get a little quicker, they may have actually tried to steal it. But the longer they delay, the closer we get to having the rest of the ultimates available. Stun almost getting procced in Darien, and another very good cocoon coming out of EDward.
Yeah, tried to sneak in and see if he could clear those wards out, but instantly we did catch Darien, and he walks straight away from that one, manages to avoid the damage. Alex Ich shows himself right down the bottom lane. Well, Fnatic may be trying to take an advantage from that one. They have not got Cyanide. They're going to catch on towards Darien. They might have enough damage here. The Glitterlance goes down, tries to slow him down enough. YellowStaR has got a lot of damage, but in comes Diamondprox, and there's the repel. EDward joins the party. We do see the wild growth going. Is it going to be enough to try and turn it around? He wants to try and save himself. He does skate down Darien. Let's look across the board. We can see the middle lane continuing to be shoved in here, though, by Peke and sOAZ. They do take down a turret for 2 kills. Can they turn this one around? Can they get the inhibitor Nitro turret down. Gambit are chasing back on towards them.
Here comes Diamond Prox. He's invisible. They know Oracles are available, so they're going to be able to jump in there. Diamond does not have his ultimate up, so there's not going to be CC outside of that red buff. That's going to decide, you know, just carry on chasing. So 2 for 1 plus a tower. Fnatic will be happy with that exchange. What it does mean now, though, Baron is a real threat. Because they don't have their AD carry available to put that damage down, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Peke and Cyanide to interrupt this. Peke's going to have to react very quickly because he's a mile away.
Peke is a long way away, and there is a bit of a wave shoving on towards bottom, but doesn't look like they're going to engage on it just yet. There's the bottom turret going down to those minions, and that does, of course, stretch the lead, the goal to 3,000, but this is still very, very tight, and now Peke's coming around. He's trying to catch on towards Alex Ich. He's going to Cataclysm towards him, but the flash comes out from Alex.
So they burn the Summoner spell. It's a much longer cooldown than that of Cataclysm, but again, if a big engagement breaks out, you're not going to have that available. What we're seeing in this game, more than I think any other game that we've seen, teams realize how precious and how crucial each individual kill is, and they're throwing everything they have at single champions. This is something we don't see all that often at this level of play. You know, abilities like Cataclysm, like Chain of Corruption, they tend to get held onto, as we've seen in the spring split. Right now, Alex is way behind enemy lines. There's no vision from either team. I think he's just trying to sniff it out. He may be able to find an AD carry, and if he does, that's going to be one dead YellowStaR. YellowStaR
using that arrow, see if he can try and sneak someone out, like you mentioned there. He is sniffing, and Alex is ready and waiting. I wonder if that red buff is due to spawn. I wonder if that's the timer he's waiting on. Doesn't look like it. It's going to back off. Realizes that Fnatic are still positioning themselves and clearing out those wards. So it looks like Baron is going to be the target of the next battle. See whether they can try to force it out. There's a lot of ping wards from Fnatic right now on the map, all around that Baron area. They're going to keep good vision. You can see Cyanide immediately tries to get in there and clear that ward, and cleverly used, Darien forces the Baron to attack him.
Yeah, and all those pink wards are something that we've been seeing over the course of this entire game. So Gambit have a 3,000 gold lead over their opponents, which is further amplified by all of the additional investment of those pink wards. Because there's an Evelynn on the opponent's team, it's very risky to hold an Oracle's Elixir the entire time, and of course pink wards will just give you that guaranteed vision. So, I mean, if you've gone 10, 20, 30 pink wards, that's a couple hundred gold at least. Fnatic are off to the side here as far as Gambit are concerned, and they may try to go for this split engagement, but they need to be very careful of an Evelynn Agony's Embrace.
Yeah, they thought about going for it there, but it would almost certainly been a mistake because Gambit had 2 members just coming down the mid lane, and they would have joined them. They are kind of split off, and they're both looking to a potential engage here. Remember, there's no wards, no vision for Fnatic or Gambit in this lower jungle, and that's a dangerous territory for both of them to be in.
Yeah, you cannot afford to be out of position without vision at this level of the game. If you lose 1 or 2 members, this far you consider that both teams are down to the inhibitor turrets in 1 or more lanes, it's definitely going to be a very, very scary ability.
So the 40-minute mark has passed, and Alex Ich going to churn out that giant wave down that bottom lane, and Fnatic immediately going to move back in. The moment he shows himself, the rest of Gambit move away from that river, the Baron area. They know that Fnatic have the vision there. They didn't get a chance to clear it out, and Alex, he's making moves. He's running straight for the middle again to get up towards his Baron, but Fnatic have started it off.
The rest of Gambit are very close by. Equalizer is available, so is Agony's Embrace. If Diamond Prox gets close enough and he gets a 5-man ulti, that is going to be a massive, massive shield. Now, because of the fact they've chased them away, they bought enough time for Alex to get in range. And I really like his itemization. It's something we've seen out of Zeds that go to these very late games, is they do pick up those frozen mallets. Gives you that additional HP, allows you to slow your opponent, and more importantly, just deal more physical damage, so your death mark hits even harder.
So let's actually look across some of those items, because there's a number of them starting to close on towards max items now, as it were. We do see Darien, he's got a lot of damage now. Similar type of thing we saw before from sOAZ as well when they've been on Rumble, and really there's a lot of ability power stacked up there along with that Leandris doing that passive. Diamond also got that Abyssal in there now. I thought he was going to go towards the Leandris himself. Does look like Dragon's going to be taken by Fnatic.
Now there is one thing I don't see though from the Gambit side, and that's a Runic Bulwark. Now fair enough, Kennen is the only real source of big magic damage from the side, so you're not as worried if there was more, but it definitely will help them out, especially with that death cap. That haunting guy is the hourglass when they do get that slicing maelstrom on top of them. Now Gambit do have vision of Fnatic, and they're thinking about picking a fight, and it's just going to come down to whoever lands their area of effect abilities better. A good 3, 4, 5-man ulti from Eve could seal the deal for the fight, but Fnatic It's just this chess game. It's roaming back and forth, using the limited vision you have to be in the best possible position.
For me, it seems that Gambit still have that same problem. Chain of Corruption lands. It's Darien that's going to get focused on. He gets dropped. He did manage to get down his equalizer just in time, but Genja's going to get focused. Remember, he's got the Guardian Angel. Peke is in deep in this one, and you can see the Zonya's Hourglass comes down, and nRated gets focused. He gets dropped, and it's going to be Peke also taken down. There's a double kill for Genja, ironically, and now in comes Alex Ich. He picks up one. Can he pick up two? He's going to go towards YellowStaR. The Guardian Angel. Cataclysm comes out from him. He straight away flashes away from him. He does get taken down, but now they're going to pursue on Cyanide. There's no way in hell he's going to be able to escape Diamond Procs. He's going to try and slide through, but he flashes past, and it's going to be an ace for Gambit.
Fnatic simply split up way too much there. Gambit dissipated a lot of their DPS. There was 3 members that got dived on. Cataclysm was used way too late. They needed Cyanide to flash in there and lock them up and get that damage down and stay together as a unit. The fact they left YellowStaR alone just meant that Gambit turned around, killed the AD carry, and then focused on the rest of Fnatic as well, one by one. So a very good defensive play by Gambit. They lose 1 for that entire play, and now they've started off Baron, or 2 rather.
Straight away, the Baron will go down. They're not going to wait for Alex Ich to spawn. He's got 20 seconds away. It'll be too long to delay this Baron. So, 15 to 20. Advantage Gambit has swung to a 5,000 lead. 43 minutes into this game. Not a great deal of turrets, just 4-4 in turrets, which is not a lot when you look at 43 minutes down. There's Twin Shadows being launched out by Peke. Wanted to, actually, that was nRated that just did that. I can't see the items yet. He's got that Twin Shadows on.
Same as the previous game.
To try and cover off, and it's one of those late builds that you do go towards. Those fun items start coming out for the supports.
Well, it's very useful as well. It's going to be able to, run towards the closest champion towards you, gives you vision while it's running along, and obviously slows whoever it hits. So I like the item. And at this point in the game, that Baron buff is going to be so important in all of these team fights. And Gambit, they just handled that perfectly. Fnatic made a play. And if you don't make plays, you can never win. And the play backfired. That was the problem in that particular engagement.
So let's look across the board as well. We did mention the fact that Runic Bulwark wasn't in there, but didn't seem to worry them in the last fight too much, because it seemed that they had enough damage. Darien was the one that was caught, but he got his equalizer down, all importantly, by that turret just before he died. The split second he died, he quickly threw out that equalizer, and that may well have been one of the key features that the rest of Fnatic couldn't really dive. We do see EDward caught a little bit by Peke, but he's going to have to lightning surge away from that one. Doesn't want to start the fight because he didn't really have the vision of the rest of Gambit. And we do see Gambit now pushing on towards this middle turret, but Fnatic are going to defend it. And
the ultimates for Gambit are up and available, so if they did want to pick a fight, they have the ability to do so. But instead, it's Fnatic that has started.
Chain of Corruption comes out from YellowStaR, but immediately that is equalized by Darien with an equalizer.
Nicely done indeed. At the moment now, Gambit traded 1 for 1 as far as ultimates are concerned. They still have their major initiation tool from Diamond Procs, and you can see his positioning. He stood atop of ward, so Fnatic are well aware of that. Darien just sidesteps that, and Fnatic decide they do not want any of this one. They give up that mid-inner turret for free, and they're just going to be content trying to maintain those inhibitor turrets.
So second inner turret for Gambit finally being taken down. 5-4 now in turrets, and that red buff is going to try and get stealing away here, but will Genja get caught out? Will Fnatic go aggressive on this one? They've skinned a little bit of poke and forth, but they didn't really have vision, and it would have been a mistake to dive in there.
nRated was very far ahead of his team alone, so that could have caused a problem. You could see the positioning of Fnatic. They were thinking about diving in there. They were contemplating, throwing everything that they have onto Gambit, but you don't really want to pick a team fight against a team with Baron. The amount of regeneration that they have is very powerful. You tend to just want to pause the game for a couple of minutes, stall it out, farm as best you can, and only pick a fight once all of those statistics and regeneration have been removed from your opponents.
Well, that bottom wave is going to deal with itself. That's going to shove through for Gambit. They have to go and deal with this top wave, and that's where Alex Ich is going, and he's going to show himself away from the rest of the team, and Fnatic may feel they have an opportunity here. YellowStar's just gone back to buy, see what he picks up there. It is going to be Infinity Edge. Wow, he's got a lot of damage.
Yes, that is a practically full build now, so he's probably going to pick up maybe some attack speed, movement speed items. I would really like to see something, maybe even like a Zephyr on YellowStaR. That would work really well. Give you some, crowd control reduction as well as some great attack speed. What we do see has been picked up by Peke is a Deathfire Grasp. So that burst potential, the possibility to insta-kill somebody is very good. Cyanide almost walks himself into an early grave, but does back away just at the right time.
Yeah, he just suddenly realized, it seems a little bit too quiet for my liking. Maybe I shouldn't be here, yeah.
But take a look at this. The numbers of Gambit, they're going to be able to just pick this tower for free. Fnatic, they could have defended, but again, they've just given it up. They weren't even in a position to challenge, and they were all relatively close by. So I think they've resigned to the fact that they cannot hold those towers. xPeke is going to give himself a good couple 100 gold here, and clearing out a very, very big wave of minions.
Satisfying, that is.
It's always awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really awesome to see it go up. I think I've seen plus 300 or so was the number on that minion wave, so it's a very good chunk of gold. The time it's been since the previous fight, all of the Guardian Angels are up and available again. We have 2 for Fnatic, we have 2 for Gambit, and the makings of a third. I seen a chain vest, so we'll see what that gets upgraded to. But a very, very close game right now. 15 to 20 in kills. Gambit, they've arrested control, and they've pretty much slowed the game down. It was very action-packed in the mid-game. But now, when any team fight can cost inhibitors and potentially the entire match, we've once again slowed it down, looking for those openings.
And more importantly, the Guardian Angels that are starting to appear have all reset. The ones that we used, Genja's, of course, that was taken down in that last fight, that's back up. We do see Alex Ich with that Guardian Angel. I believe he just changed items. I'm absolutely certain he just sold something to pick up that Guardian Angel.
So he picked up that Guardian Angel a minute ago. I'd be lying if I told you what it was. But at the moment right now, you can see the amount of attack damage that Genja has. 426. 2 fully stacked Bloodthirsters, Infinity Edge and Lost Whisper. All right, so
it was Infinity Edge I just spotted pop in. That was what was confusing me. I saw Guardian Angels shift position. I was like, was that there before? I'm not too sure, but it's Infinity Edge that Genja just picked up, so Genja's now a monster.
So the one thing about Genja, he doesn't have any additional attack speed right now. It's at 1.2 is his base, attack speed. He can obviously supplement that with his impure shots, but as we know from Genja, as we expect from him, he tends to focus a little bit more on that bullet time cost, which is hitting so incredibly hard right now. At the moment, Baron buff does appear to have worn out, so that is no longer available. It will be respawning in a minute, as you can see by all of the wards down for Gambit. And that's probably going to be the next fight. Whoever has better positioning will most likely pick up that fight and Baron.
Yep, Gambit definitely starting to decorate that Christmas tree in Fnatic's jungle. 1 minute to go, like you mentioned, for Baron, and that is almost certainly going to be the point of contention. The question is, will Gambit get caught out before then? The acceleration gate was down, and Fnatic thought about trying to maybe go for an engage there, which would be a brave move. They are 7,000 behind in gold, and again, they could just shove straight up mid. Gambit kind of off to the side right now.
There's no vision for Fnatic, so they actually have no confirmed idea where their opponents are. They're pinging on a number of areas, but as you can see, there's no blue wards. And again, we find Gambit splits up, able to potentially surround Fnatic. You need to keep your eyes on Diamondprox and Darien. If an equalizer comes down, this might be a fight, because Fnatic were very tightly grouped.
Gambit were ready to go for that one, but Genja was taking red buff. You saw even Diamond and Alex Ich were about to come around the backside of him, but he was well away. sOAZ is peeling him towards it. They're trying to close the net on them right now.
Oh, and this net is going to be so scary. Keep a very, very close eye on Diamondprox. They've run in there. There's the Chain of Corruption.
Chain of Corruption, but it was only Diamond that it caught. There's going to be XPeke, goes straight in, lands his ultimate, but there's double Zhonya's Hourglass coming out. Meanwhile, in the top corner here, you do see Alex Ich. He's about to go down. Guardian Angels popped multiple times there. YellowStaR comes around. EDward comes back in there, though. Sinks his fangs down. It is going to be Diamondprox with the kill on XPeke, and now Gambit are in all sorts of trouble. They're going to continue chasing on towards them. nRated, he needs to run. Run, little man, run. You are going to get caught out by Diamondprox. He's actually split decision which ones he's going to kill. It is going to be one. It's going to be two. Cyanide's not going to be able to avoid this damage, and he just goes straight into Genja's bullets.
Genja did not even get his Guardian Angel pop. Fnatic had a relatively good engage. They trade 3 for 2 there. They managed to put some damage down, but YellowStaR was left trailing. He was behind the rest of his team, and Gambit said, thank you very much. We will gladly focus your AD carry. We will gladly throw ourselves in there, and that's the reason they won the fight. Genja was practically untouched that entire fight. But nevertheless, 3 for 2, another very high-tension battle, and Baron is still standing. The wards have timed out, and Gambit will be redecorating that forest for vision to make sure they're ready for the next fight.
So that was actually a less than perfect engagement for Fnatic, yet they didn't come out entirely too badly with that 3 for 2. Gambit are going to collapse, or they're going to see YellowStaR. YellowStar's caught. Yeah, he is dead.
Yeah, he's just going to get popped. There's not even a question about that. Ran straight head first into Genja and Diamondprox, with his death being 70 seconds long. this is going to be a free Baron. And you can see the Fnatic pings just saying, defend the inhib turrets, hold the base, do not let them take it.
That was a pretty low mistake as well. I'm not gonna beat around the bush there. He should not have been in that position to come around the tri-bush. He had no vision there, and he'd already seen a couple pass through that river, so he knew there was members of Gambit in and around that area, and instead just got caught out. Oh, nRated with the cocoon down, has to use the wild growth on himself, which means it's not going to be available in the next engagement, and Gambit look like they're going to try and push on. sOAZ tries to hammer down on towards Ed, but instead he just repels away from the damage before it even lands. And now Gambit, with that Baron, just going to shove straight on towards this turret.
4 members of Fnatic are doing their utmost to defend right now, but look at this!
Oh my word, his ultimate didn't even get a chance to go off there, Alex Ich. The damage was so strong, and that's going to be the inhibitor turret going down, and potentially the game for Gambit. Can they take it 2-1? Remember, this is a best of 5, so regardless of what happens here, there will be another matchup afterwards. And well, Gambit looking so strong. Remember, they took it 3-1 over the series against Fnatic. Can they do the exact same thing here in the League of Legends Spring Playoffs?
Fnatic haven't given up yet. They want to pick a fight, and Rate is not there, but Gambit have turned back.
Ed Diamond manages to catch all 4 members there. Immediately, Peke tries to use that Zhonya's, but it's not going to be to naught, and Cyanide goes down. Gambit just falsely giving Fnatic a little bit of hope. Thought they were chasing them away, but they just turn it around and shove it down their throats. It's Gambit taking game 3 in this best of 5 series against Fnatic. They have the advantage.